Hello everyone, it's the Crazy Math Nerd, Kitty Morgan here, to talk to you a little bit about the EVT on a closed interval. So if you are trying to find the extreme value on a closed interval, and you know it's closed, then you know that you will have an absolute maximum in. That's actually what the Extreme Value Theorem guarantees you, that if you're continuous, then you will have an absolute maximum in. How you go about it, if you're on a closed interval, is called the candidates test. And what it does is it is a test to give you the candidates who may be your absolute maximum in, and then you have to choose the winners of the contest. Get it, candidates? So there are steps to do this, and this is the Master Math Mentor Finding Absolute Maximum Ins, page 102. And so he goes through and says you got to find your critical value. Critical values are where your first derivative is 0 or where it's undefined, or and where it's undefined. So critical points are where the derivative is undefined and where it's 0. And then you have to evaluate f, because you're trying to figure out how big is f. So you want to find f at each critical number and at the endpoint. So you'll have at least, if you have a critical number, then you'll have at least 3 candidates to choose from. And then once you find these, you just pick the smallest value and the largest value. And one of the things that you need to make sure you talk to your students about is when it says value, if it says what is the value, they're asking for the y value of the point that is maximum or minimum. If they say where is the absolute maximum in, that's the x part of it. So just make sure you talk to your students about that and are clear. So let's go through and do this first one right here. I have to set up on my movie so I can write with you. So I'm going to follow the directions of what it told me to do, and that was, it said you have to find the critical number. So I'm going to take the derivative, which is 6x minus 24. I'm going to set that equal to 0 because there is no place where this is going to be undefined. And I get x equals 4, so that's my critical point. So that's step number 1. You got to find any critical points. Number 2, you have to evaluate those critical points and those endpoints so you have to put those into the function. And so I have done that, and I got, I cheated a little bit. I used a calculator. It's not really about can they do the algebra. It's about can they actually go through and once they have got all this, answer the question. And let's see, negative 46. So that is what I got when I input those values into the original function. And so notice that this is my absolute min, and this is my absolute max. So if you're writing the answer to this, then you would say you'd write it all out. But so the absolute minimum value is negative 49 because it said find the values, and the absolute, now if it said find the point, whereas an absolute maximum, we'd list the point, but it did not say that, so I'm just trying to answer the question that was asked of me. And the absolute minimum value is, is 26 on that interval. So that kind of helps you know a little bit about how to do that.